Although it sounds incredible, there are people who come to this plane and to this wonderful realm we inhabit with a beautiful mission, one that can completely change the history of humanity and everything we cherish in it. These individuals, although they may not keep it in their conscious mind at first, are completely alien to Earth, and they resent the difference between their being and that of others. These people harbour a deep feeling within themselves, one that leads them to think that this is not truly their home, but that they are present in this space due to an important task that has been conferred upon them, a mission that can be as great as it is complex. And it's true that Earth is a wonderful place of learning, but we must also be aware that many aspects need to be worked on, aspects that humanity has distorted over the years and through the social dynamics adopted as a result of negative energies. But while it's true that Earth is our home and requires our attention, all beings inhabiting the universe are called to cooperation, compassion, and unity among us from the purest love. So it's not strange to think that our realm will also receive help from those elevated to other planes, or even from other planets. It's practically impossible to believe the idea that we are the only planet with life and a social dynamic, and we all understand that the universe is vast, infinite, and wonderful. So somewhere else, another society is living their life in that perfect space for them, just like us here on Earth. Perhaps upon hearing this, your mind immediately jumps to the idea of extraterrestrial life, and those fearsome green monsters that have been painted for us for so many years, who come to this planet with the intention of invading and subjugating the human race. But this is nothing more than a fantasy scenario that has been painted for us and seeks to scare us about the different forms of existence in the universe. In truth, things are quite distant from what most imagine, and when we say extraterrestrial, we must understand that it is everything that is outside of Earth, in another plane, in other spaces, because ours is definitely not the only place to inhabit. It is quite understandable that people feel some fear of the unknown, but according to what great researchers have discovered, these beings could be aligned with the principles of unconditional love, kindness, cooperation, and unity, so their intentions could be far from this catastrophic scenario. According to Dolores and other authors, among us move precious missionaries from other realms, other planets, and even other galaxies, who are here with the objective of bringing light and teaching some of those principles that govern them, so that thanks to their action, humanity begins to heal, and at the same time the Earth as a physical space. This idea has been conceived under the name of Starseeds, a wonderful idea that can open us up to accepting collaboration between beings and souls, and to the reality that we are coexisting unknowingly with beings who are not from this planet. And if in any way you have felt alien to this wonderful space, or you consider that someone you know may be, join us on this little journey to recognize some of the distinctive physical qualities that these individuals present, and from there be able to identify if you are or coexist with one of these starseeds. Number 1. Unusual skin patterns or birthmarks. It is not uncommon for some people to present different features on their skin, or even small marks that have accompanied them since the day of their birth. But what we surely do not think is that these same marks or patterns could indicate the origins and quality of a living being. That is, that these could give us signals that a person comes from a planet or galaxy distant from ours. According to Dolores, one of the most evident signs that an individual is a starseed is the way they present a distinctive mark or a special pattern on their skin, which besides being profoundly striking, is indicative of those cosmic origins different from ours, which do not abandon them in the midst of this plane and even seem to be externalized on their skin as a firm reminder of their origin and their mission on this planet. Some of these marks end up having very peculiar shapes, as if they were geometric figures, leaving many perplexed by the perfectly delineated way in which these are appreciated on many occasions. It may be more than just a simple coincidence that these birthmarks are indicating something very precious and powerful. Geometric figures are not the only forms in which they appear. Some also resemble a kind of seal or symbol, and in other, even stranger cases, they resemble galaxies and star formations that exist in the universe. But behind the beauty and unique shape of these delicate forms painted on these special skins lies an even greater mystery. According to Dolores canon, the places where these marks or patterns are situated are powerful energetic points of these beings, from which they can align with their energetic heritage and the forces of their place of origin. Just as we can channel specific energies through chakras and certain specific points, these beings can mobilize and manage the energies of their being through their distinctive marks or patterns, while also channeling the energies that come from the place of their origin and directing them in favor of the earth and the mission they fulfill on it. Inhabiting here and having adopted the form that we possess does not cause these beings to lose their incredible abilities, nor does it mean that they stop managing those precious energies, which in many points are superior to ours. It's not about one species being superior to another, but about the way in which all beings in the universe must come together in compassion and collaboration, allowing genuine love to flow among each other and enabling us to perfect every species and every realm. In light of all this, I urge you to conduct an analysis of yourself and evaluate if you have ever felt like you are not from this plane or not aligned with its energy, while also possessing one of these marks. Because probably this is a strong and clear sign that your role on Earth is much more important than you think. Number 2. Unexplained marks or scars. Each of us is the guardian and deepest knower of our body, so it is quite strange when we inexplicably observe scars or apparent marks that in our consciousness do not have a logical reason. Many times, we aren't even aware of the existence of these particular scars that our body displays, but eventually, they become present and noticeable. So many times they end up pushing us to mentally recount what may have marked us. It is in these moments that we realize that these adornments on our skin are not simply wounds made accidentally and painlessly, but are linked to the inheritance that the person has received on a stellar, energetic, and transcendental level. Just as in the case of birthmarks, these particular scars can appear as symbols, signs, geometric figures, and even as shields or strong visual representations of ancient civilizations. Less commonly, these scars may evoke very specific coordinates or constellations, which prompt us to imagine a bit about the origin of these souls. These scars can, like in the previous case, be strong reminders of that legacy and place of origin, so that the person does not end up completely losing the meaning of their mission and succumbing to the negative energies that pervade that place and that are sought to be corrected through the actions of each of these missionaries. There have also been known cases of starseeds with marks very similar to those of a surgical incision, which leads us to speculate a bit about their past or about the way they may have had encounters with extraterrestrial beings. But this again may lead some to think of terrible moments when extraterrestrial beings end up capturing and harming people. And it is quite sad that these ideas have been instilled in us when behind this collaboration between soul and civilizations could lie the future of our race and of Earth in general. If those beings coming from planets and galaxies different from ours really wanted to harm us in any way, they probably would have done so already, as the moment of vulnerability we have from this state of unconsciousness represents a strong risk for us. While humans choose to continue on that path of stubbornness, in which we cling to negative energies under the idea that they represent a safety net for our physical integrity, evidently, we will never be able to access 100% of our abilities, gifts, and powers, since we will be conditioned to those ideas that the lower vibrations offer us and from which we feed. But if we truly manage to leave aside all those unfounded ideas and panic that have circulated among us over the years, we can open ourselves to understand the noble mission and intentions with which these beings come to us, and under which they seek to blend in among us, almost achieving it, but still being detected thanks to these singularities of their being. Furthermore, another important point about these scars is that, beyond their distinctive appearance, they are points on the bodies of these beings that possess great energy, and they manifest this energy through their peculiarity. For Dolores Cannon, these particular points within the noticeable skin of this wonderful group of individuals are a tangible display of an energy release point that they harbour, which propels and sustains them in the midst of carrying out their work on this plane. And although our being may be conditioned to think that these beings represent a threat, they actually dedicate all their energy, power, and time to help the Earth in the midst of this complex moment we are going through, because within our transformation there are also great blessings for those other realms, managing to align everything with high vibrational frequencies. So from now on, when you observe a person with one of these distinctive scars on their body, and when asking them about it they simply cannot give you an explanation, open yourself to the idea that you are facing a wonderful and powerful being capable of providing you with much wisdom and energy if you are willing to accept it. And in the same way that these seeds support us and the entire process we experience on our planet Earth, let us be kind and understanding with them and their desire not to want to be in the midst of our space, because ultimately they will yearn for their own, wishing to be in that place they know as their true home. Number 3. Their peculiar eyes. Eyes are a part of us that holds deep meaning, one that we often overlook, and among the most precious organs we have are this pair of useful and small eyes that, compared to other parts of our body, are tiny but manage to allow each of us to perceive the wonderful world. Much has been said over time about our eyes and their capabilities, even calling them the windows to the soul, a name that perhaps aligns perfectly with what they reveal about each of their owners, especially if this owner is part of that select group of beings who have come to Earth with a mission of love, compassion, and light. And what happens with starseeds and their eyes is simply fascinating because, although they have blended in among us with great care and almost going unnoticed, when looking into their eyes, we discover the marvel they hold within their being. If this is the window to their soul, according to experts on the subject, their soul could harbour all the wonder that exists in the universe because their gaze and what they convey with it are only comparable to the vastness of galaxies. Those who come face to face with one of these starseeds have described the moment as one of profound connection with the universe, with space, the galaxies therein, and the countless realms housed in our vast universe. The force with which the gaze of these beings strikes you makes everything around you disappear, leaving you alone in a profound connection with the vastness of space, its planets, and what resides within them. The eyes of these individuals pull you in, and although many times it's not possible to determine what captivates you in their gaze or what makes their eyes different from the rest, the truth is that their ability to draw us in and invite us into that deep moment of connection is something fantastic and unique. This attraction and indescribable peculiarity often converge with a subtle manifestation of an impressive physical quality, which is the colour in which these eyes appear, as the hue they exhibit in their gaze can transcend the limits of the ordinary to present itself in the most precious shades. While it's common for us to see eyes of black, brown, and with lovely shades of blue and green, encountering the gaze of a starseed allows you to appreciate eyes with a coloration beyond the ordinary, where turquoises, violets, and other fascinating tones can make an appearance. Often these same eyes don't tend to be of a uniform colour, but possess a background adorned with subtle flashes of another hue, which denote their origins, their strength, and their extraordinary condition in the world. Some describe the eyes of these seeds as a window to appreciate outer space and its precious details, which have never astonished us as much as they do now, knowing and understanding that these other realms exist and lovingly offer us their missionaries to help us in our process. Everything in this vast universe is imbued with love, compassion, cooperation, and genuine concern for other forms of life. And although we may not want to see it, out of fear, we have closed ourselves off to that helping hand, but casting a fleeting glance at the gaze of these individuals may make you reconsider absolutely everything, including your stance towards extraterrestrials and their intentions with us. Number 4. Variations in color regarding their aura. As we all know, the aura is nothing more than the energy emanating from us and manifests itself in an invisible form in most cases. But in other cases, it can be appreciated by a fortunate few, giving them the opportunity to learn a bit more about that soul without needing any words to be exchanged. The aura is intimately linked with our level of consciousness and our internal states, so its brightness, intensity, size, and color send us a message that only a few fortunate ones can decipher. For those who may not yet know, the great minds who specialize in this field invite us to reflect on how our aura reflects our internal state and the type of vibration with which we align, which is heavily influenced by our place of origin and our habitat. It should not be surprising to us that the color and shape of the auras of these starseeds differ from the norm on Earth, because just as we are configured with the energies of the Earth, these beings are configured with the energies of their place of origin and the type of vibration that prevails there. While colors like red, orange, yellow, or even black and brown are part of the norm for auras on Earth, these seeds are endowed with a tonality far from the simple, as it is believed that their aura can be a vibrant turquoise, a brilliant gold, and even, in some cases, an intense silver. According to Dolores canon, this is due to the level of elevation of their being, which has always been a key and predominant factor when discussing the topic of starseeds. It is necessary to clarify once again that starseeds are not mere extraterrestrials, but beings from other realms and distant planets, from ours, who come to us to transmit a profound message of love, peace, and light. While some fear, many others bless the presence of these entities among us and celebrate the way their realms decide to support ours during this moment of stagnation and deep darkness on Earth. Although our planet Earth is an incredible and perfect place in its essence, due to many decisions made by humanity, it has been transformed into a place lacking in light and a high level of consciousness. But these are aspects that will be repaired by the human race, from the light generated by our awakening in consciousness, a light that becomes increasingly vibrant and gradually changes the reality we see in our physical space. However, even as we ourselves assume the responsibilities that fall on us regarding our habitat, the realms elevated above ours are primarily concerned with somehow collaborating with the other spaces that exist and are conducive to souls, because they understand perfectly that this is beneficial not only for those souls, but also for themselves and their society. That's why they end up coming here to help, to bring light and spread a message of love, peace, compassion, and unity, making them stand out at all times from the rest, especially from those who have not yet awakened. But if that change, if that difference can manifest in something tangible and appreciable, it is undoubtedly in their aura, because it is a direct, true, and infallible way to know what is inside each physical body. This is how we end up knowing these seeds, and how we recognize them among us, applauding their hard work for us and for everything related to our process of evolution. Number 5. Anomalies or genetic variations. Perhaps this is one of the most controversial points we will touch on when talking about starseeds, as it touches susceptibilities of the population. However, if we manage to see through the simplicity, we will realize how those sensitive points for conversation and for many end up being a message of love and hope that leads us to better understand the universe and the perfect way in which everything happens in it. Throughout history, humanity discovered through science that our genetic configuration is not a simple, unbreakable mold, but on the contrary, it is a perfectly designed code that can sometimes show us alterations. But it's not that an ordinary person will be altered after birth. Rather, from the moment of our entry into this world, we come configured, complete, and ready to begin our journey. This genetic code is capable of determining in a decisive way how our being will develop in all the aspects that concern it, or the physical form it may take. Understanding that in certain cases, The way in which human DNA presents itself does not seem characteristic of the race, something that nowadays can have an explanation. It turns out that for some researchers in the field of metaphysics, the topic of starseeds became curious, and in the midst of their immersion in the concept, they discovered that these could be responsible for those alterations and modifications of our DNA code. It's not a matter of them being harmful or having affected others, but rather, it is these same seeds that carry these controversial alterations studied for many years by scientists. With this, we do not intend to diminish the merit of the discoveries and information that science specialists have exposed over the years, as it is evident that, just as starseeds have their influence on the matter, all the factors they expose also do, and both realities can end up converging and existing simultaneously. For those authors who dare to speak of starseeds, these genetic variations are just another example of how different these beings are from us, manifesting in these specific cases, which show that indeed we are not configured or oriented in the same way as these fantastic beings. Not only are the principles that govern them what distances one race from another, but also the way we are genetically configured. Since inhabiting different spaces, it is normal to think that each one would adapt to the needs and peculiarities of its environment in terms of genetics. This makes their biological configuration different from ours, and when they want to blend in with us, it becomes obvious because they do not possess the same configuration, and this ends up revealing their identity and their mission in this plane. Some of the characteristics that these beings can exhibit in this plane are cognitive and neurological, as they are capable of reasoning, understanding, and making their brains operate at a much faster speed than ours. The way their brain structures connect and communicate is simply fascinating, and for many, it is even superior to what is expected of the human being. This does not mean that they are superior to us in any way, but rather speaks to the fact that the environment that surrounds us can strongly influence our biological orientations, making us more or less capable in certain aspects. But at the same time, it is important to remember that this physical plane in which we inhabit is solely a consequence of us and our lack of awareness and attention to the spiritual world and the energies we move, something that from understanding can be changed for the benefit of ourselves and all humanity. Not to mention that this is something in which these starseeds will help us. Number 6. Sensitivity or allergies. It is important to understand that, just like us, everything around us is energy, and often what carries a different energy from ours ends up causing a reaction in us. However, this is something that is seen more frequently in starseeds, and it is largely thanks to the different vibrational frequency that characterizes them. Our being aligns perfectly with the energies and vibrations that are consonant with the state in which we find ourselves internally, which speaks volumes about the level of consciousness we have. This is a fact that is often difficult to understand or process because we actually think that our energy is limited when it comes to manifesting in our environment and our physical state. But in reality, our vibration, just as it influences much of what surrounds us, also has the ability to lead us to a better or worse state of health and make us react in different ways to our environment. This is a reality that these beings from other planets do not escape, and although they are normally seen to enjoy good health, the energies that are managed on Earth can affect them in different ways. And among these different ways, we find the manifestation of allergies and sensitivities to certain things and components that we can find on Earth, since we must keep in mind that everything that exists here aligns with the energies specific to this place. Everything we know on Earth, from the largest to the smallest, is energy, and that energy in one way or another interacts with us and our being, generating manifestations both positive and negative. For example, contact with nature and approaching green spaces can generate a profound feeling of well-being and an extra energy that adds to us, while other factors such as smoke, pollution, or spaces heavily laden with negativity can end up causing illnesses, colds, and in this case, allergies. And if this happens to us, it's not strange to think that it could also be the case for these starseeds, which can end up experiencing quite strange and even inexplicable allergic reactions to certain foods, smells, spaces, and even climates. The topic of allergies has always been seen as an issue of the body's inability to manage a specific factor. But thanks to the contributions of Dolores and other authors, today we can understand these allergies as a clear symptom of being a starseed. While their bodies manage to adapt to human forms, their genetic configuration and their energy end up betraying them and letting those around them know that they are beings belonging to other planets and even other galaxies. This opens up a fascinating world of possibilities that allows us to let our thoughts soar to levels where taboos previously existed, such as the idea that these beings could already be among us, living together and making a subtle difference. The missionaries sent to us from other realms may have been among us for a long time, and by never considering the possibility of their existence, our race overlooked the presence of their realms in ours, something that has changed and now poses as a real and tangible possibility. It is crucial to open our minds and our eyes to the subtle signals these beings give us that they do not completely fit in among us, because by recognizing them, we can honor their presence and make their work in this plane a little easier. If we know how to recognize these beings, it is almost certain that we can take advantage of their knowledge, their compassion, and the light they radiate to evolve and make our journey on the earthly plane simpler. The Earth can be profoundly benefited by the presence of these beautiful souls, and simple things like people who have allergies without a logical medical origin could be giving us strong warnings to accept that not all of us who coexist here come from the same place. Number 7. The chakras. Our body has throughout its entire extension sensitive energy centers, which we recognize under the name of chakras. These points are responsible for channeling the energy that comes from the universe and the higher realms of ours, serving as conduits to receive wisdom and important guidance, useful for our journey in the midst of this earthly plane. But humans are not the only ones who possess these so-called chakras or sensitive energy points. Beings from other planets also have them, and they greatly help to channel the energies of their place of origin, as well as the energies of the higher plane. It is well known that our being has the ability to be in connection with the universe and the dimensions that are elevated from ours, so beings who inhabit those realms can send useful information not only for the individual but for humanity in general. But this is only possible if we manage to cleanse our being and tune it with the high vibrational frequencies, meaning that this is an ability that is necessarily linked to an adequate level of consciousness, and obviously with a balance of the being regarding these sensitive energy centers it possesses. When we talk about starseeds, we must be aware that we are talking about beings that are strongly connected to the universe and the energies of the highest degree of positivity, so they possess those precious opportunities that we often seek to access, which come to bring to this plane. All humans want, in one way or another, to evolve and enjoy the opening of those doors of information and blessings that the manifestation of the positive brings into our lives. But very few have discovered the path of the spiritual and true knowledge. However, this is a treasure that starseeds seek to distribute among everyone on Earth, and they do so precisely through those same energetic gifts they possess, thanks to which they can receive the indications and guidance from the universe that help fulfill the task that has been assigned to them. Thanks to their perfectly aligned chakras and the way these marvelous beings align with the highest vibrations and elevated realms, they can perfectly fulfill the tasks that have been assigned to them, which in a subtle way are already having an effect amid our mother planet. It is no coincidence that we are increasingly approaching that divine and elevated energy, which can be felt in every tiny step taken on this plane, which is becoming more and more changing, as if transformation were its definitive destiny. And with each day, the distance between our current panorama and that change is narrowing. It's no coincidence that more and more people are awakening in consciousness and seeking to align with high vibrational frequencies, precipitating the entire humanity into a massive leap of consciousness. As we well know that each of our individual actions ends up impacting humanity and the collective consciousness of which we are all a part. Our planet is being changed, improved, and perfected, and although it's a task that solely belongs to us, we cannot deny that we are receiving important celestial aids and guidance, so let's move forward confidently knowing that the future only presents itself as positive and promising. Above all, let's open our eyes to those around us, to bless their work amid this significant change, one from which we can be sure we will deeply benefit. And if at any point you've thought that you're not from here and that your home is far away, you may find the explanation today, so head to the comments section and tell us if you consider yourself part of this select group. If, on the other hand, you believe someone needs to receive this message to open their eyes to reality, then share this video with them. And don't hesitate to give us a like, as that supports us in continuing to bring you content. And if you want to continue exploring with us the deep knowledge that important teachers have left us, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications, as every day we'll be filling this space with more light and knowledge. In this way, we support the change taking place on our planet, in humanity, and in everything we know, and we help in an important way to fulfill the mission of these Starseeds. We'll see you again very soon. Until then, receive lots of light and blessings.